Everyone, it's Car-Boyz. Yes, it is. It is us. Just in case you were wondering, we are back. Good evening, one and all.
Evening.
Simon, how are you?
I'm good. You?
Very good, thank you.
Are we still in tier 2 or what?
Are we what? Are we tier 2? I think so. I think Edmonton is still tier 2. We're still tier 2 down in Richmond, but for how long?
Yes.
Who knows? The Northerners are all tier 3. Some are is it tier 3? Is that the word?
Yes. Yeah. I think there's only 3.
Yeah, tier 3. And no, London, we're all tier 1. Sorry, tier 2. Going into tier 3 soon. So, you know, at least it'll free up some jobs. Yes, good evening. Welcome to the show. We are back, and unlike David Frost, I am alive and kicking and raring to get on with the show. Hello, good evening, and welcome. Of course, it's a Halloween special, so we're going to have... I forgot about the Halloween music. We're going to have plenty of this sort of thing. I promise we won't be playing Monster Mash. Yes, Halloween special. We'll also be featuring all sorts of scary elements in the show, such as waiting for the bill when you're changing the oil on a Rolls Royce. Very scary. Or waiting to see if the old man in the Volvo will just pull out in front of you. Also frightening. They usually wait till you're almost there.
The last
and they
seconds.
Set off. There's always a hat in the back of the car. And of course, who could fail not to be scared witless at the prospect of your wife trying to reverse park your car whilst not curbing your alloy wheels? In my case, my wife listens to this show. It is not my wife. It's my mother. All the stuff of nightmares. I bought her a car. Well, I didn't buy her a car. I've got no money. I helped her buy a car, and I got the car with completely pristine alloys. About 6 months later, I went and had a look, and every single one of them is ground down. I'll let it go. Yes, the show that's all about cars, but is put together on a budget similar to that of the biscuit allowance of Top Gear, is back. And unlike Top Gear, there's a distinct lack of former cricketers and failed quiz show hosts. There is. This week on the show, we have all the fake news that's fit to print in the news. A superb vintage vehicle for you this week in the classic car selection. This week, a coupe from Volvo designed by an Italian with a Landau roof. A strange combination. Talking of which, here's Simon.
Landau roof. Is that Martin Landau?
Martin Landau roof. Yes, it stars in Ed Wood and also almost every episode of Mission Impossible. No, if you didn't know, the Landau roof refers to Landau carriages in Europe of the 18th and 19th century. So basically, it's like soft top.
Right.
It's the carriages where the top comes down. You can shoot or see the Queen, whatever which one you'd fancy doing. But of course, in the 1970s, the Landau roof wasn't really a Landau roof. It was just sort of a bit of vinyl that went over the back end of your car's roof and looked horrendous.
Horrendous indeed. But yes, of course, that is a great Swedish car. And I do like Swedish things. Lots of Swedish. Have you seen my internet history?
I have seen your internet history. A lot of Swedish things.
Lots of 70s.
Going on holiday in Sweden and the music of ABBA.
We've got a great show for you. It's the show that takes to the trenches for the betterment of our viewers. We are back. We crossed the road this week in search of the best driving roads around the world, which is what's it called? Lost Highways, that's it.
Yes, that's the one.
And as you said, classic vehicles that we want to own. This week, the Lost Highways, as mentioned by Rich, will be answering questions from the viewers in our mailbag. And we had a fun competition this week. We get all Ken Bruce, and we're asking you to guess the year.
Ooh.
1 year out.
On Pubmaster.
So stay tuned for all of that and more. I am Simon Goodwin, and since it was Kim Kardashian's birthday this week, did you know that? It was also your birthday.
It was my birthday. I'm a little older than Kim Kardashian, and my arse is a lot smaller.
Yes, but like Kim Kardashian, I like big butts. I cannot lie. You other brothers can't deny that when a girl walks in with an itty bitty waist and a round thing in your face.
Yes, Simon Suju there, who apparently loves big butts. At least he's honest. I'm Richard Green, and I'd also like to pay tribute to Mrs. Kanye West. I wandered out in the world for years while you just stayed in the room. I saw the crescent, but you saw the whole of the moon. Yes, Waterboard's there, singing about Kim K's butt before she had the implants. I don't know if you've seen it. It looks like she's wearing a very full baby's nappy. Or if you're American, a very full diaper.
Diaper.
Just very, very full. This, of course, is Car-Boyz.
It's Car-Boyz.
New spot before we get started with my take.
Yes.
New sponsor for the show.
Who we got this week?
Yeah, it's Trump Cola.
Ooh.
Coincide with the presidential election. Trump Cola. It's not from China. The other taglines I've been told to say are Trump Cola cures COVID-19 and the Wu flu. And Trump Cola, shake the can, awake the orange man. And it tastes. It tastes of success. That's what it tastes of. Yes, it's time now. Hang on, so let's have some more music for Richard's take.
Yes,
On,
Halloween music.
I'm afraid it's going to be that all the way through the show. I only get once a year to use the Halloween music. I'm very excited. I'm not going to be able to go trick-or-treating.
Have you carved your pumpkins yet?
No, I've got my pumpkin. I've got a green and orange one that looks like quite mouldy, which I'm quite excited about. I want to get a really properly orange. I just thought, in light of Trump Cola, I could do a pumpkin in the style of the American president, couldn't I? I could make that, because it's already orange. It's quite chunky around the chops. I just need to do that sort of little thing with the, can you see the join? Okay, good idea. Right, time now on the show for my take. It's when I take a look at the world from my own view, and to be honest, it's a slightly warped but certainly entertaining view. Each week on the show, there's an authoritarian, if not totalitarian, regime. I was appointed by the divine right of kings to rule this section of the show. I shall not be stopped. Imagine if Pol Pot had a child with Joseph Stalin. I mean, it would be very weird, but I would be the product of that foul union. So sit back, relax, and enjoy my tirade. Last week on the show, you may remember, I was banging on about traffic lights. The week before, it was signal lights. Well, forget what the feck I was banging out in September, but I'm sure it was important. This week, it's all about the government. After legalising electric scooters, creating more lanes for buses that don't exist, and with no one on them, and taxing the hell out of the only people who pay for the roads, namely the motorists, the UK government thought, well, we're not having to go at the motorists enough, so we need a new scheme to ban you from using a phone in the car. Drivers face a total ban on touching their mobile phones, not themselves, at the wheel. Under the existing law, they can be prosecuted only if they hold a handheld device. Otherwise, if it's in a rack, it's in a mobile phone holder, they cannot be prosecuted. Now, from early next year, this will extend to touching the phones for whatever reason, such as to take pictures, to scroll through music, or even answer a phone call. Here's somebody about to go into the back of my car. Look at him, absolute idiot, probably a sales rep. Motorists will still be able to use their devices as a sat-nav, but only if hands-free. In other words, using voice commands, which I don't really get, because I think you still need to touch the phone if you use something like Waze. Anyway, mobile payments at drive-through restaurants will also be allowed. Oh, well, thank you for that. So will scratching your balls while waiting to get your burger at the drive-in. Hang on a second. That doesn't make any sense. Drive-through restaurants are on private land. You can't be prosecuted on private land. They're not on public highway, so that's a load of old cack. Hands-free video calls and streaming videos are already banned. Yes, I also like to, mind you, hang on, we did that in Germany, didn't we? No, it was the other person. It wasn't the driver.
I was doing that.
The passenger. So, that's fine. We're okay. Yeah. Offenders will be hit. Wait for this: 6 points and a £200 fine if you touch your phone. The closing of this loophole is very welcome, says Nicholas Lies of the RAC. So reported the Daily Mail newspaper, and he went on to say, and it reflects the multitude of ways drivers can use handheld phones. Well, yes, it does, but also it doesn't reflect the way in which you can turn on your heater, turn off your heater, adjust your mirrors. Have you seen the inside of a 21st century car? It's full of computer things that you can touch and move. Yeah. To better enforce the law, Highways England has been trialling the use of high-definition cameras that can take pictures of motorists through their windscreens, fitted to overhead gantries at secret locations. They use algorithms and artificial intelligence to determine whether pictures show drivers using their phones. Because let's face it, it's easier to catch me, somebody who pays the police's wages through my taxes, my motoring taxes, the petrol I buy, the alcohol I drink, the cigars I do or do not smoke. Actually, forget that one, the cigars, I get mine from abroad. If the trials are a success, imagine what images could be sent to the police to issue a notice of prosecution letters. Eric Blair must be laughing his arse off in his grave, knowing that the dystopian future of the novel 1984 has come true. So, folks, the people who pay for the roads, and much more, because let's face it, 80% of road tax fund goes straight into government coffers and doesn't go on the roads at all, so they can dole it out to outdated institutions such as the BBC and failing industries such as the Network Rail system. So all of that money, the people that pay all that money, these people who pay for the roads, namely the drivers, are now going to be fined for using the roads. Now, don't get me wrong. If you're texting on your phone, such as this person, or using a handset with your hand, you are a dick and you do need to be fined. But I live in a congested hellhole that they call London. 80% of the phone calls I make are hands-free in my car. I do it. My dad did it way back in the 1980s, and even this guy, who was probably older than my grandfather, did it. I think he was calling for car 54.
Where are you?
Where are you? So my dad's one was great, big plastic brick in the back of the car and a giant battery in the boot and then a red LED, and it cost a fortune to make a phone call. He put the hands-free on hands-free, he had a little speaker, he had a little microphone. In fact, he hated it back in the late 90s when they shut down the old analog network and he had to use a mobile phone, a Nokia mobile phone, not a car phone. Because he said he really didn't want to be contacted 24/7 by his company. And he also said he felt like a builder or a plumber with a big Nokia strapped to his belt. I digress. If you were touching your phone to answering your call, or touching it to make a call, how different, this is stupid, but if you've got your phone on a dash and you're doing this to answer a call, ring, 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 how different is that from touching the dashboard sat-nav or pushing a button to turn my heated seat on, or which always makes me feel like I've pissed myself, but there you go. How about scratching your balls, sneezing? Are these all to be outlawed? Let's just put this in perspective. How dangerous is driving at the moment? In the UK, there are 1,800 road deaths a year, which is far too many, but out of 8.3 billion, and I did say billion, car journeys. If you drive a motorbike, there are 318 deaths per year, but out of 2.8 billion miles travelled on a motorbike. And do you remember plane journeys? Do you remember those, Simon? They were fun.
I do.
Way back when you could still take one in 2018. If you travel by plane, you had a 1 in 1.2 million chance of crashing. Yeah. All of those are odds I'll take. Now, what are the chances that you'll develop cancer in your lifetime? Well, according to a new survey, in 1 in 2 in women, for every 2 women, 1 of them will get cancer. For men, we get it better. We get 1 in 3, which is fair because women live longer than us. But that's a statistic to make you shit yourself at night and not a car crash because you touched a mobile phone. It's the minority, it's the minuteness of things to worry about. And I want to know, does this mean I can still touch myself intimately as I drive without getting fined? I do hope so.
Quite possibly.
I like this guy, though. He is my favourite. I think he has to dial on that dash. Look at that. He has to dial that as well.
So, one, I like the fact that his speedometer is probably as big as the one that's in my Mini.
Oh, yes, it is, isn't it?
And 2, he has to reach across to answer it and dial the number. But
yeah, he's not going to be allowed on the roads.
So my car, my Mini, has got an angled windscreen.
Yes.
How's that going to see through my windscreen compared to a slightly more aerodynamic car?
I'm not sure.
More slight in front. So they're talking about they've got the gantry. As it is, when cars go through, you can't necessarily see who the driver is. So that's number 1. Number 2, you've got like Teslas where you've got giant screens, so everything's controlled by touching the screen.
So why aren't they being fined?
Yeah.
We've also got slightly more modern cars than we had I mean, it just road deaths are so down on what they used to be in the UK. We've got
So-
amazing ABS, we've got amazing brakes, but
Yeah.
you now want to
Better
take
tyre
us.
technology.
Yeah,
better grip on the
in
road.
everything, in everything.
Yeah.
The cars are so much better than they were even 20 years ago. But you now want to. I just don't get it. And like you say, how are you going to police this?
Again, it's one of those things that they're just trying to make money out of the motorist. That's all they're trying to do.
Yeah, I'm not a massive fan of it. I really think it should stop. Whether it will or not, I don't know. I will continue to use the phone in my car because I sit in traffic for hours each week, and it's where I make my phone calls. It's how I contact people. So if that has to be the case, that has to be the case. Should we have some news?
Yes, let's go for some
Here
news.
we go.
We've got scary music for news. He's doing the monster mash.
It was a graveyard smash. I used to be a local radio DJ. Many of you will say, yes, we know. We can feel that. It's your end of the pier humour. And I loved Halloween doing a gig on. I got to play the Monster Mash more than once. And that was it. You don't see that song for another year. The Graveyard Smash.
Oh, I haven't listened to any radio. One, I haven't listened to any radio today. And two, that was the only time that you would ever get certain play. You're absolutely right. Certain tracks will only get played at that time of year.
It's the same with Christmas songs. I can't wait to get to play them because you don't hear them for the rest of the year.
Anyway, we'll do some news. And first off this week, in iconic American brand takes back the title news, SSC. SSC, or Shelby Supercars, will be confirmed as setting the new world record for top speed for a production vehicle with its Do you think that was Cilla Black named that?
Hello there, there's Graham with a very fast car.
But it's a hypercar. It was clocked at 331 miles an hour outside Las Vegas earlier this month, topping the much debated previous claim by the Bugatti Chiron. The average speed clocked over 2 runs saw 2 runs. I'm taking these are not on public roads. Runs that saw a recorded 316.11 mph, which beats the Bugatti's previous best of 304, which had been questioned, only been clocked in one direction last year. No doubt Harry Styles was driving. The two efforts were clocked in Nevada alongside along a closed 7-mile stretch of the state road.
There you go.
State Route 160, if you want to have a go at it.
Yeah,
also setting new records for the fastest flying mile, fastest flying kilometre, and the highest speed achieved on a public road. Founder Gerard Shelby, who is no relation to the legendary American car designer Carroll Shelby, said the vehicle used is one of 100 production models to be produced, and the runs were conducted using street tyres and non-race fuels. At the wheel was the Manchester Ally Kid racing driver Oliver Webb, and the speeds he reached in the hypercar were measured by 15 GPS satellites. In accordance with the record criteria, no doubt Maurice McWhirter would have been there if he could. The Tara travelled in record breakers, clocking its speed within 1 hour to break the world record for the fastest production vehicle. The Tara record isn't the first time the SSC has gone for the Bugatti Jugular, taking the same title from the iconic French manufacturer in 2007 when its Ultimate Aero hypercar set a new record. That's what they made. Set a new record of 257.41 miles an hour, which dethroned the Bugatti Veyron's previous record in 2005 of 253.81 mph. Strangely, though, it was the other Shelby, Carroll Shelby, created the world's fastest road car back in the late 1960s with the creation of beautiful AC Cobra.
Very nice.
Up to 165 miles an hour. In order to set such a top speed, the Tara has a twin-turbo charged 5.9 litre V8 producing a massive 1,750 bhp on E58 ethanol. Despite hitting the incredible speed of 331 miles an hour on the closed public road, driver Oliver Webb claims the Tara, or the Tarantula, could have gone even quicker.
Isn't it amazing that I think the Shelby held it for nearly 10 years with the AC Cobra, which reached 165 miles an hour. And if you do remember the Cannonball Run, that was the fastest car in the Cannonball Run. There's a great scene where the guys in the AC.
Burt Reynolds, yeah.
But there's a guy in an AC Cobra, and the police are chasing him, and they go on, chase him, and they're like, my helicopter won't go that fast. But that's 100. It's gone 165, and within 50 years, I'm just amazed at the jump from in 13 years from 257 to 331.
Which is funny because if you think of it the other way, the Ferrari F40, which was the fastest car, the first car to top 200, that was like for 15 years to the Bugatti. Or, actually, no, it wasn't. It was even quicker than that. The McLaren F1 would have been claimed 230. So that was only about 5 years.
Yeah. So I don't know how this thing's not taking off. Because at 330, doesn't this thing start to lift? But, I mean, obviously, they've got the technology. That's a cool car. I know. I'd like to be commuting in that. And using my phone at the same time. Although in a proper handheld set, not in my hand.
I think at that speed, though, the camera's going to be able to catch you.
Straight through. I like it. And Asian Mr. Bean finally stands up for London news. Sadiq Khan, the Asian Mr. Bean, as we have... called him on this program, has made clear, he's done something good. He's made it clear his opposition to extending the congestion charge to North and South Circular roads. The idea to dramatically expand the £15 a day zone from central London to the suburbs is reportedly a possible condition of a second government bailout for Transport for London. A source close to Mr. Khan said, according to the Daily Mail, negotiations are ongoing to do a deal to keep TfL services running. Conditions such as extending a £15 congestion charge to the North and South Circular would be totally unacceptable to the Met. Sorry, that was the London's Evening Standard, not Daily Mail. I'm getting my papers mixed up. Transport for London is seeking £2 billion for the... I did say 2 billion for the remainder of the current financial year and 2.9 billion to keep services running into next year. These are services that nobody is on. It is completely empty on the tube system. Completely empty. I may even have... Yes, here's a picture. This is rush hour last week. That is not rush hour I have ever seen in my life. I've been living here for 30 years. I have never seen rush hour so empty. Just saying. The low emission zone, the £12.50 day charge for more polluting vehicles is due to be expanded into the North and South Circulars by next October. However, the expanded congestion charge in the same area would prove to be impossible in practice because, like we said about no phones, there are no spy cameras to monitor and enforce the zone, although I'm sure Kim Jong-il could go supply some for us. Second problem, you would need to remove any residents' discounts. Otherwise, enlarging the zone would encourage more people to drive from the suburbs into central London while paying only a fraction of the charge each day. Don't ever do that. Don't let people in London who live in the UK's capital city have a better deal than the tourist who's here for just an effing day. This will never happen because the city will cease to function. I will tell you why. This is the current congestion charge zone. Get it the right way up. Okay, that doesn't contain half the sites in London that you might want to see. It doesn't contain Regent's Park Zoo. It doesn't contain Madame Tussauds. I don't believe Tower Bridge is in there. No. There's lots of stuff. Westminster, Hyde Park is not in there. Knightsbridge is not in there. Harrods is not in there. That's a very, very small area. Now, remember that area. This is what they want to expand it out to. Orange was the previous picture. They want to enlarge it. I'd say that's at least 10 to 15 times larger.
Yeah.
Most people in London, I don't live in this. I consider if you live in the North or South Circular, you properly live in London. I live on the outskirts. Way, just over here. Just sort of over here. Try and find me. Most people don't live in this area. Most people do not live in the centre bit. They live in this outside bit. How are you going to police this? How are people going to come and visit you? It's just not going to work. Your family can't come and visit you in Croydon and go, oh, you have to pay. Or Chiswick, oh, you have to pay. I mean, I'd have to pay to get into work. And you know what? I'd maybe going to Spain and buying a Spanish car. That's what I'm saying. Or Calais. I saw an Audi in Calais the other day online. £4,000, 80,000 miles on the clock, good service history, 2006 Audi A4. And I might just learn, pardonnez-moi, je suis français, je ne parle pas anglais, and drive that around London.
So I'm guessing this is the tactic that, in theory, if your car is slightly polluting and you have to go to congestion charge zone, which is a joke in itself because the congestion charge hasn't actually reduced any congestion in
No.
So £27 there or thereabouts a day to drive for. I see what they're trying to do in that it forces most motorists off the road.
Yeah.
And onto the trains that people weren't using anyway.
Yeah. And people can still, you're not going to take a risk using trains. Yeah. This will absolutely kill London. Sadiq Khan is to blame. He's chucked £33 million, and I did say £1 million, into green initiatives. None are being used. I sit opposite a very nice man from Essex who's a keen cyclist. And the other day I came in and said, oh, did you come on your bike? And he said, no, it was raining. And guess what it does a lot in England? It rains.
It rains.
He came in on the bus. I will continue to use my car, so on and so forth. I'm sorry. From this to this don't make any sense.
Craziness. Anyway, let's move on. Let's do, meanwhile, in JFK's car is sold off. United States news in the United States. A limo which President JFK, John F. Kennedy, rode on the morning of his assassination.
Trump Cola. It stops you being assassinated.
Sold for $375,000 at auction.
There it is.
The 1960. Oh, there it is. The 1963 Lincoln Continental was used to chauffeur JFK, Jackie K, and the Texas governor John Connally in the morning of the fateful day of November the 22nd, 1963. They travelled in it through Fort Worth before boarding the flight to Dallas, where Kennedy was assassinated in another Lincoln Continental car the day that it was on display in the Henry Ford Museum in Dearborn, Michigan. The white Lincoln up for auction was not part of the president's fleet of security vehicles, but had been loaned for the visit. It was later sold to a private customer and changed hands many times before it was bought by Jim Warlick, a collector of presidential memorabilia at the auction in 2013. He offered it to Bonham's, that's Bonham's American Presidential Experience, not John Bonham, where it had its engine replaced and repainted, and the red interior remains original. The auctioneers had expected it to expect $500,000, but it ultimately sold for $375,000. Known as Limo 1, I see what they did there. The white Continental was used to transport the President and the First Lady during the trip to Fort Worth after the four-door had been loaned out by a local car dealer, Bill Golightly. Golightly. The car was purchased by an acquaintance of JFK the year after his death. It had previously been leased to the government from Ford for the President's use for $500 a year. The car was modified for the President's use and included bulletproof doors, power steering, brakes, and passenger air controls. Just to say, bulletproof doors.
Yes.
I'm not being funny, but look at the picture.
Yeah, look at where he is. Needed a bulletproof roof, guys.
Yes.
Bulletproof roof and windows. If I'd have been there, I'd have had everything bulletproof. And I would have been bulletproof because I was drinking Trump Cola. Makes you bulletproof. So it's not let's get it right. It's expensive for a car. And they're not the cheapest things. Lincoln Continentals are very desirable because they've got the suicide doors. Yes. But it's not the car he was assassinated in, so you don't have to get the brains out the back seat. Ich bin ein Berliner, which means
doesn't that mean that
I am a bagel. Yeah, I'm a donut. Yeah, I'm a donut. But they do some. If you ever watch the program Detroit Steel, they've done a couple of these. And they make the sides even flatter. Give them huge wheels, and I mean they look fantastic. Drop the whole thing as well, so it's about that.
Air suspension.
A very nice looking car. I'm not sure worth. The trouble is, you wouldn't be allowed to do that for £375,000. It would be a bit of a sacrilege. Anywho, and in rush hour is a thing of the past news. Rush hour traffic in London has plunged a week after the capital was put into a two-tier coronavirus lockdown. Congestion levels were 46%. Hang on, I've lost my picture. Stay with me. I've got a picture of how bad the rush hour was. Where have I put it? It is here somewhere. There you go. No, of course it'd all be all the way over there, wouldn't it? No, still not got it. Oh, there it is.
Yes, rush hour.
Right. So congestion levels were at 46% during the rush hour at 8 a.m., down 14 percentage points from 60% at the same time last week and down from 63% last year. It comes after 9 million Londoners were banned from meeting each other in households indoors, and many continue to work from home, following the government's urging people to do so. Drops in congestion compared to last week were seen in other UK cities, although to not such a great extent, possibly because many have been experiencing restrictions for longer than London. According to sat-nav company TomTom, the Daily Mail reported falls were seen in Birmingham, 38%, down from 42% previous week. Manchester at 20%, down from 35%. Official estimates say that 65% of people working now are travelling to an office, factory, shop or other workplace for at least some of the week, the highest share since the lockdown first began to ease in May. For the first time, more than half the working population are travelling to work every day and have entirely abandoned working from home. Surveys show that around 3 in 4 people were worried about the impact on their lives of the coronavirus. Commuting is a bitch, but being unemployed is more of a bitch. But that is still not rush hour in London, however you paint it. I would say that's about 3 o'clock in the afternoon. So
I don't know if I believe this, because this week schools are off, it's half term. It has actually taken me longer to get to and from work this week, partly because lots of roadworks have sprung up as well. So
that is right. So that's one of the reasons. You're completely right. There's roadworks everywhere because it's a half-term holiday for the children,
yes.
and so they think, oh, now's the time to put the roadworks up. Also, I went a different route to work, thinking that it would be quicker, and it hasn't. They've put the traffic restrictions they're everywhere now. They're through Isleworth, they're through by West Middlesex Hospital, they're around Kew Gardens. Everywhere's narrow and narrow and narrow. Yeah, I'm afraid they don't give a toss. They couldn't bloody care less.
And to show you how stupid it is, one of the roads that I go down, I think it's called Scrubs Road, near Wormwood Scrubs Prison.
Okay.
They were doing some road works, and it was down to one lane about 2 weeks ago. They finished that.
Yes.
It was clear for 2 weeks, and now they've decided to do the other side of the road.
Oh, that's a cool. Well, the usual trick is they finish the roadworks and they've got nowhere to store the kit, so they just leave them on the effing road until they go to the next set of roadworks. Yes, the bane of my life, roadworks. I must tell you very quickly before I go around to our classic car selection. Many years ago, during a holiday, they blocked off the only way to get out of the area I live in, London, and there's 3 ways to get out, and they blocked off all 3 ways with traffic lights. So I phoned up and said, "Why are you doing this? This is like it's causing chaos in the morning." So my wife's phoning me, going, "It's taken me 2.5 hours to do 8 miles." Yeah. And so I said, "Well, okay." Phone up the council, and I'm at my gym, phoning him, telling him about this, and the guy at the roadworks, no, those roadworks are gone. I went, "I'm looking at them. I'm effing looking at what you're telling me is gone." He's saying, no, they've gone. I'm looking at them, dickhead. What am I looking at? Oh, I don't know. I'm looking at your roadworks with your lights going red and green. That's yours. That's not anybody else's. So I don't think they know their arse from the proverbial elbow. It's time for the classic car selection, and the jazz band, they've all dressed up as ghouls.
Ooh.
Go on then. Hang on. I've got another one. So, hang on, what about this one?
Oh, that's a bit more spooky. It sounds like the opening to Club Tropicana, by the way.
I like that. What did you say?
It sounds like the opening to Club Tropicana by Wham.
Did that have wolves at the beginning?
No, it had just like those birds and
Ah.
crickets and things like that.
Love Tropicana, drinks are free. Time for the classic car selection. That's not the classic car selection music, but we just thought we'd give you a bit of, it's Halloween.
Whoa.
It sounds like my social life there. Just the tolling of a bell, some crickets, the wolves, maybe not so much.
Is it a stylophone that makes that noise? That
Oh, hang on, let's have a listen. I think that's real wolves. I can tell. I was born in Alaska. Classic car selection time on the show. Now, if I said Volvo to you and Coupe to you, you'd probably think of the P1800 as driven by His Royal Highness, the Right Honourable Sir Roger Moore of ATV's 1960s classic TV show, The Saint. And that's the car he drove in The Saint.
Yeah.
But in the next decade, the Swedish brand teamed up with an Italian design house to make a very distinctive two-door car. Volvo and Bertone were an unlikely double act, and their first offering clearly showed that this unnatural pairing was capable of producing a very unique product. It looks like a gold brick, it really does. The 262C was a bold, interesting design that's worthy of praise, even if it's only attractive in the eye of the beholder. It's certainly distinctive, and a lowered black vinyl, or in this case gold vinyl black roof with swept back and chunky rear pillars plonked on top of a 260 lower body gave this personal coupe intended for the Yank market a distinctly tank-like appearance. It's a Yank tank, but under that lowered roof, just as luxurious as any other Volvo 260, which meant overstuffed leather, leather seats, electric windows, and of course the obligatory air conditioning. Engines were the same size as the standard 260s, so you've got 140 brake horsepower, 2.7 litre V6 at first, followed by 155 bhp, 2.8 litre V6 towards the end of production. So that's what's not to look for when buying one of these things. Well, they are sluggish and yet thirsty for a sports car, but the platform is effectively a 1970s Volvo, so they are as reliable and as solid as the Japanese cars of today. Look for rust and the usual no-go areas such as blue smoke from the exhaust, mayonnaise underneath the oil cap. Remember as well, they only made 6,000 of these between 1978 and 1982. So interior trim is almost impossible to get hold of. You need to see a good service history, plenty of receipts, and most importantly, if you buy the best one you can. Don't buy the rubbish and make it better, buy the best one you can. And our advice is join the local Volvo Owners Club, a great way to get parts and also get the info you need about this car. Now, 10 years ago or more, you could get one of these for peanuts. £2,000, £2,500 would have got you a pristine car. My friends, times have changed, and old 70s and 80s Volvos are now recognised for the absolute solid classic cars they are today. You are going to need to dig deeper. You're going to get nothing but a pile of rust for only £5,000, but splurge up to 10. You should get a good example with no rust, good service history, and in good condition. But we've seen on the internet versions of this car going for almost £30,000. It's a rare beast in England, but you may be able to settle for a left hooker from Europe. We found this one, a 1980s model in Jewish Racing Gold with good service history. Fresh, rust-free import from California for just over £11,000. So why not get the coupe that's boxy and safe, but also sporty in a weird 70s kind of way? And that'll be the Volvo Bertone 262C.
I do like that. It's such a good-looking car, but I don't know why. If you squint, it looks like a Morris Marina.
Do you know why?
It was Ital design, wasn't it?
Ital design, the Morris Marina. That's why.
Yeah.
I actually thought it looked very. This looks very American. With that,
It does,
I mean, it looks like it's got a Landau roof. It looks like it has got a Landau roof, but I mean, it looks like the American version of a Landau roof, especially this one. Look at that at the back. It could be a Chrysler New Yorker, but unlike a Chrysler New Yorker, this is made from proper steel by Swedish people, not Americans, who actually work for a living. There's no Friday afternoon cars in the Volvo factory. No? I think it's
That's a
great.
great. I think that's probably one of our. I think that's one of my favourite ones. I completely forgot
I
about
passed
that.
one the other day.
Yeah.
I took some pictures of it and stuck it on the Facebook page because I thought it's such a pretty car. If you at home would like to suggest a classic car that we should do on the show, you can get in touch. Email the Car-Boyz at, no, we can't say that. It's flaring. Come on, get it right. Email the boys. Have you got your vanity light on there again? You've got your makeup artist in, your vanity light. The floor manager's coming in a minute. Email the Car-Boyz at car-boys@outlook.com. Facebook car-boys with a Z at Car-Boyz with the 4 of the Z's there. Twitter car-boys at car_boys with a Z. Instagramming at car_boys with 3 Z's. Tell us what cars we should be featuring in our classic car selection. It's time for Lost Highways. And let me think what more perfect music could go.
Whoa.
Oh, we've got flamenco. I don't know how we went there.
Can it not be Halloween every week?
I think we. But now you need. That's a Sabbath album, isn't it? The opening of every single Sabbath album. What are we going to do? I don't know. We've got a brand new album to put out on one day. Ozzy, what should we do? Just stick on the Werewolves and the Bells, mate. Oh, that's great, Ozzy. I like that. That's fantastic. Lost Highways.
Lost Highways, of course. Yes, don't forget, though, later on in the show we have the mailbag, the quiz, and a whole lot more. But we do our feature first, which is where listeners email us in and give us their favourite roads and the reasons why they love them. It could be a quiet coastal road that leads down to the sea. Alternatively, it could be a straight 2-lane blacktop that leads to infinity and beyond. And invite you to come the pedal to the metal. Whatever your poison is, let us know your perfect drive it roads here on Car-Boyz. Rich gave you all the details earlier on. So let's move on with the first one this week. And the first person to get in touch was Space Cadet 74.
Ooh.
Who says, "Why Car-Boyz? One of the best driving roads is up here on the A1 in Bamberg."
Is he from Wales?
Yes, he's.
Don't do a Welsh accent, you'll sound South Asian.
Exactly. So he said it's in the north of England. That's what.
Oh yeah.
The driving time from Newcastle is 59 minutes or an hour. Depends if there's roadworks. In the heart of Northumberland sits the stunning coastal town of Bamberg. The town is famous for its castle, coastlines, and variety of walking trails. Bamberg Castle itself sits on a 180-foot high basalt crag, boasting unmatchable views of its surrounding seaside landscapes. And meanwhile, in the coastal area is home to a vast expanse of nature, sand dunes, and grassland, giving way to perfect walking routes. When staycations are on the cards due to COVID, Bamberg is also home for a number of caravan and campsites, so expect slow traffic there, as well as B&Bs and hotels. Plus, the village itself is home to a number of quaint, locally run retail, food, and beverage businesses, which you can visit once they have all been safely allowed to be reopened.
Yeah,
so there you go. That's one of the roads. I think that's a beautiful road.
That looks like
beautiful.
Quite a little nice look. Yeah, quite a nice one to go down. That looks really nice. I'm guessing that's the sea and not the loch.
Yes, I think, yeah.
It looks fantastic. It's just cold. That's the only problem with Newcastle. I remember going there as a child at Easter, and it snowed. Yeah. It snowed at Easter.
That's why people are sad up there.
That's where they drink a lot and they go out with just their t-shirt on because they're bloody hard as nails. You can't do wrong than go to Bamberg or whatever it's called. That looks fantastic. Good driving road. Thank you, sir. Finally for this week on Lost Highways, Texas Tom says, if one castle isn't enough, why not try a whole route of them? I don't know. There are around 70 castles dotted along the 1,200 kilometer route, there's 900 miles, via the A9 and the A73. We're in Germany, the Castle Road. Ooh. The German Burgenstrasse is a theme road in southern Germany, and it starts at Mannheim Palace, crosses Bavaria before heading into the neighboring Czech Republic. There's one of the castles. This route is... it is a bit, isn't it? It is.
There's very wolves around there.
Sorry.
Ooh.
This route is a dream for anybody looking to explore over 1,000 years of Central European history on one unforgettable road trip, especially if you choose to stay in some of the castles on the way, like the Castle Hornburg, where you might get which is now a hotel. Yeah, you might get a burg, if not the horn, if you're lucky. If you visit in winter, you might be able to check out the famous Christmas market at Nuremberg's Imperial Castle. You will buy something. Just to remember, everybody likes cinnamon. Just to remember, Stolen is the best food. Just remember, take precautions on those wintry German and Czech roads. It was established in 1954. In 1994, it was possible to extend the road to Prague. Of course, the Berlin Wall came down and the Soviet bloc ended. It heads through the Neckar Valley, the Hohenloher Plateau, the Franconian Heights, Franconian Switzerland, the Fichtelgebirge, and the Kaiserwald, or the Slavonsky Les. Kaiserwald, isn't that King World? Kaiserwald?
Kaiser, yeah, I guess so, yeah.
Kaiser is king, or is Kaiser cheese?
Kaiser
Cheesewald. Oh, Kaiser cheese. So cheese chips. I thought Kaiser Wilhelm, so it must mean king. It can't mean cheese.
Yeah, I don't know. I didn't do German, so
I did it for a year. Badly. It's sprechen Sie keine Deutsch. I like that castle. It's very pretty.
It's very haunted at this time of year.
It is. No, you want to be careful when you go there, because from what I hear,
That's a bats. Ooh.
And mad monks. If yeah, it's very
That
nice.
That should be the soundtrack as you're driving through it on the A9 road.
Actually, if you go past this castle, it just has these giant speakers, this PA system outside. It's quite like white noise. I quite like that. I could get used to that.
When you get to the reception, they go rang.
Would you like a room, sir? Hang on. It's going all sorts of places. This audio-free music ain't what it used to be. The only thing I would say about Germany, it's not very safe to drive. There is a misconception that the Germans are really safe drivers. They overestimate their abilities, I will say that. And they think everybody behaves in the same way. It's all very ordered, but there's no room for error. So if you're coming up to a junction in England and you see the proverbial... Hang on, let me get to the driver of which car will it be? Hang on, let me find the driver.
He's on his phone.
Yeah, he's on it. No, it's not the phone. It wasn't so much the phone guy I was thinking of. It's, I've lost it now. Hang on a second. Talk amongst yourselves, folks.
It's technical gremlins.
Technical gremlins here. I should just put some more. Let's just say an old Volvo. Let's say for the purpose of this conversation, an elderly Volvo just pulling out in front of you. Now in England, you'll go, right, well, he's not, he might not, he's old, hearing aid, he's probably on his phone, but who knows? He's probably on his phone, like this one of those phones. He's elderly.
It's that size.
It is that size. Maureen, I'll be home soon. And he just pulls out very slowly in front of you. Now in Germany, the guy, they don't let you do that. They go nuts if you do that. And sometimes
Really?
they'll just, they do. They really go nuts. You can't just sort of go, whoa, I'm coming through. Yeah. The Italians would be all arms and sort of give you this. Yeah. But the Germans just won't let you pull in. It's very yes or no.
Wow.
I think they applied the same sort of attitude towards invading Poland. I'm just saying. So yes, I'll quickly give us our Lost Highways address, so you can suggest your favourite driving road. There you go. Email the Car-Boyz at car-boysoutlook.com. The rest of it is there. Just have to press pause. Of course, don't forget to subscribe and like the channel as well. Please subscribe. Please like the channel. It all helps us. We're not getting paid at the moment. We're not asking for cash. We do this because we love cars. Instagram us at car_boys with 3 Z's. It's time for the letters page. Let's have, hang on, what have I got next? That's a bit dramatic. Let's just get, hang on.
That's too dramatic. It's not very Halloween-y.
No. How about this one? There's fun, there's horror. Yes, that's how I describe myself. Yeah, it's time now on the show to delve into the bulging sack that's known locally as the mailbag. This week, it is large and impressive.
And this week, Carl writes to us from Wichita, Kansas. Wichita was it Wichita lineman Glenn Campbell?
It was Glenn Campbell's water, called
I
Glenn
think that's
Campbell,
probably
sponsoring
why.
the show last week.
Yeah, Carl has got in touch with us. He says, "Hello, Car-Boy. Hello there, Car-Boys." He hopes we're all good, and we are good. He wants to know our advice on European cars. You've come to the right place. He's been driving the past his local car dealership where he's seen a 1997 Fiat Barchetta. What do you think of this car? He thinks it looks good. So does his girlfriend. I'm not surprised. What do you boys reckon? It's an Italian convertible, two-seater. Their answer to the MX-5?
Yes, I would say so. Yes.
Bit hairdressery. So I don't think it's a macho man's car.
It's not. This is mid to late 90s, only made in Italy, only made as a left hooker, not designed for export to the UK or the US. Italian's answer to the MX-5. Very small, front wheel to drive runabout. It can be fun in the city and the highway. There are still quite a few, they're very sought after cars. It was based on the Fiat Punto platform, but tightened up and handles like a sports car. Barchetta, did you know, means little boats in Italian. And this car motors along the road, the twin cam, like a little boat, 1.8 litre engine, VVT. It gets around 130 bhp, so it's no slouch. It's a unique car. You can buy this for less than $1,200 US. And if you can get it for less than $1,200 US, buy it, but check for rust. It is an Italian car that's 25 years old. I saw one of these the other day, and it did look quite sexy. Cars, this hairdresser's car thing, it sort of works and it sort of doesn't. I would not buy this car now. But when I was 25 and living in East London, maybe I would. Maybe I'd have the roof down and I'd go to France in it and think I was Continental.
I think more hairstylist rather than hairdresser.
I think you're right. It is a bit of a hairdresser's car. Hang on, they used one of these. Now, didn't they use one of these in Top Gear when they went to the desert? They went to Syria, and it was the one that performed the best.
Yeah. I think they took a BMW Z3.
Yeah.
Barchetta, and I can't remember what the other car was. But yeah.
MX-5, and this performed the best out of the three. Yeah. It is from what I hear, it's a very fun car to drive. The Italians but the Italians make good, very, very small, funky, sporty little cars. Yeah. That's what they're very good at. These have held their value very, very well. And of course, his girlfriend likes it. She wants to drive it.
Of course she does.
That's what she said. I think that's a lovely car, Carl. Can we buy that?
People just assume it's her car anyway.
Exactly. Yeah, and if anybody gives you any shit, you can say, hey, my big Ford F-150's in getting some work done. I got no choice.
In the shop.
It's in the shop. I got no choice but to drive this goddamn woman's car. And then when his friends have gone, he can put his scarf back on and pretend he's in Italy, poncing around Florence.
Listening to some Glenn Campbell.
Listening to Glenn Campbell. The Wichita lineman. Right, thank you very much for that. Alison, moving on to from Sheffield, says, hey up, Car-Boyz. Hope you're good. Yes, we are. How do? She wants to know if there's a quicker way to get down to see her family. Oh, God, she's not from Sheffield.
Oops.
She's from Tenby in South Wales, but she lives in Sheffield. And she wants to know, is there a quicker way to get back down to Wales? That's lovely. Then going all the way down to Bristol and across the Severn Bridge to Wales. The 300-mile journey is a killer, and also is going to Rajasthan. Sahib. Okay, you can't really see from this map, but the problem is that the yellow bits are all the motorway. So Sheffield is up here. Hang on, let me get right. Sheffield is where my top finger is there. Now, where she's going is all the way over here. The best way to go is down past Nottingham, round Birmingham, then onto the M5, and then M5 all the way down to Bristol, then across the Severn Bridge, going to Chepstow, all the way along the bottom of Wales. Finally, you get to sunny old Tenby, and it is very sunny in Tenby most of the year, Pembrokeshire.
I've never been there.
She's thinking it's good beach, fantastic beach. She and a good cinema. She's thinking of going on here and going down. The problem is, there is nothing here. Wales is a lovely land, but there ain't no motorways in Wales. Have a
Just
look.
valley and sheep.
There's just valleys and sheep. You are going to take far longer to go straight across from Sheffield and then straight down. So, best bet, hate to say it, suck it up. You've got to go. So, you're going up there. There we go.
Our advice would be to take a car that you like to drive.
Yeah, and enjoy it.
Yeah.
I did London. I did some work in Fosslas a couple of years ago, and I did it in a day. So I went to Bristol, had breakfast in Bristol at my mother's place where she used to live, and across the Severn Bridge, and then I went to I think, where did I go? Bridge somewhere? Bridgend. Yes, Bridgend.
Oh, Bridgend. There's a Ford factory there. They make engines.
And then I went. Oh God! I went past. I went all the way along the M4, past Port Talbot, which looks like Mordor. If you are Welsh or you are listening in, I do apologise. But Port Talbot, there's lots of steelworks there. And then I went all the way back up into central Wales, and it took me an age. It was an age.
It's the sound of our Welsh viewers turning off.
Yeah, sorry. Let's go to. Have we got the analysis of our Welsh audience at the moment? Yeah, there's nobody there. And all is empty from the Welsh. No, nice place. Very difficult to get to. Really difficult to get to. And I think I made it back in 5 hours, but I hooned it. I've hooned it at 9:30 at night after the gig had finished on the M4. All the way through, and then I think, M4, M25, maybe I cut across the M3 at Bracknell, can't remember. This is getting boring. This is getting a conversation I have at a party. But listen, she has no choice. Alison, you have no choice. You have to do M1, M42, M5, M4 at Bristol, go along the bottom of the Wales to Tenby. North Wales, there are no more motorways running. It's rural. It's a principality. It's not really a country. I'm called a Welsh, I can say that.
Okay, I was going to say that was the sound of more Welsh people switching off.
Oh, they understand. They're my people. Especially the Asian ones.
Yes. Derek in the Canary Islands, Tenerife to be precise.
Oh, nice.
Lads. I love the show. Good, I'm glad you do. She or he or he's an expat Brit who's retired.
21st century Simon, I make no judgments.
Retired in the sunshine in Santa Cruz. He has brought his dream car, a 1997 Pillars Coupe W140 S600 V12 tank of a car. The big boy, it was previously owned by a retired English couple on the island, and it's bought it for a bargain price of €6,000. It has a full service history, low mileage, and it's good condition, and it's found that the electric extenders for the seatbelts do not push. It's got the electric seat things, isn't it?
Yeah.
Do not push the seatbelts forward to him. That could be a bit of a problem.
Yes.
They're also just making a whirring sound. How much is it to fix this? Screwdriver? I don't think it's something you can do yourself, is it?
Unfortunately, no. I had a quick look at this online. I did some research. I had a similar problem with my BMW M Sport, where the seatbelt extenders did work, but they didn't push the seatbelts towards me. So they would sort of go like this, and the seatbelts would. The answer to that, if you've got that on the car, is to spray starch in a can. The starch that you use on your shirt collars, or your grandmother probably did. And it makes the seatbelt sturdier and stiffer, so that the seatbelt then comes out and pushes it towards you and doesn't sort of do that slip off. In your case, though, yes, that's a couple of quid fix. It's not going to be so likely. The likelihood is, if these things aren't popping out, it's the plastic gearing inside the seatbelt motors has lost the teeth. So they're just whirring, the circles whirring around with no, because quality BMW makes stuff out of plastic. It's not doing the job. These are surprisingly expensive, both to fix both sides. Wait for it. Will cost you €1,500.
Man,
this is not worth it in a car that's worth €6,000.
Yes.
I just get your mechanic to disable the motors by removing the fuses and just reach behind you and grab the seatbelt like the rest of us
most
do.
People do. Yeah.
Yes. And all you will have is just a little cap. It'll look like a cool little silver or grey leather cap on the side of the bolster behind you. Nobody will know any wiser. Nobody's going to judge you. It's a lovely car. It's a monster you've got there, the S600 V12. But I wouldn't pay $1,500 getting that fixed, because you have to save your money for when this thing really goes wrong. And it will.
And the fuel bills.
And the fuel bills. He's only going around the Canary Islands. I mean, it is a nice car. I assume he loves it. He wants to keep it going. But, I mean, my father's got a very cheap, my old cheap gold Honda, and it's probably worth £800, and the air conditioning's gone. And I said, new condenser's going to cost him £400, so he just winds down the window.
Yeah.
So that you wouldn't
remember those days when you just used to wind down your windows to get
they call it the 240 air conditioning. 2 windows wind down, and you drive at 40 miles an hour. Finally, William. So just don't bother. Good car though. That's a Car-Boyz car. That is a classic Car-Boyz car, and we have filmed with this car, and I have driven one of these, and they are beautiful, solid as a rock. So well done, sir. Finally, William in Belfast says, Car-Boyz, I need your help. I don't know why I went Scottish there. I finished in my last year of uni. Maybe he's Scottish. He doesn't necessarily... I finished my last year of uni in Belfast, and I've been offered a job next July down in Cork in Southern Ireland in the Republic. Cool. I need a car to get me to and from there. My budget is super low, pennies rather than pounds, or maybe he's Scottish. We've lost the Welsh, Richard. Hang on, let's go to our Scottish audience. They've gone now. Did you hear about
Just got the Irish left.
How the Scotsman invented copper wire?
No.
Yeah, it was 2 Scotsmen fighting over a penny. Thank you. So pennies rather than pounds. Pennies mean prices. So what should I buy? Right, I think you should buy something with the biggest engine. That is a heck of the route. The journey's 250 miles. Most of it's motorway these days, thank goodness, although my parents' day, it wasn't. It was all A roads rather than single-lane highways. So what's the first one we found? We found 2 funky cars here. Ooh. The first one, 2005 Ford Focus. 70k on the clock, £70,000 in very full service history, very good conditioner, only 2 owners. This is for sale in Belfast, and it's only £900.
Oh, it's a saloon version.
Yeah, that's the worst one.
Fantastic.
Because that means that this is a granddad car.
It is, yeah.
Nobody bought this. Nobody bought this, the Focus with the boot, the saloon version.
Apart from the Americans. It was built for the Americans.
Was it? I always see these and go, never mind.
Yeah, it was more for the American market.
Okay.
That's why they did it.
Well, this is cheap, man. And I'd say that's a great... If that's an auto, and say it's a 1.6...
I would also say those were only, in that shape, were only available in gear trim as well.
Ooh,
in this market. So you'll get a few toys on that.
Okay.
For 900 quid.
900 quid. I like that one. Second one we found also in Northern Ireland in Armagh, a Mazda 6 2007, slightly newer. Pretty much the same build quality as a Ford.
Yeah.
This one has a 2-litre engine.
Oh,
that's quite nice. 4 owners though, 70k on the clock. So again, really low mileage.
Yeah.
Good service history. It's just put a new cam belt on it. £1,100.
Not bad.
If it was me, heart of hearts, I would be slightly worried that this has been ragged because it's had 4 owners, but it's had a cam belt. Now, my mum had a Focus of this era, and it started to have problems.
Okay.
I think, personally, new cam belt, 2000, 2-litre engine, I'd go for the Mazda.
Yeah, get your mates in there as well.
It's also the auto, and he doesn't. I mean, he's going to be young. If he's just graduating, he's going to be. He's going to be a young chap.
Sure.
This says, "Wow, I can smell that." Just if you open the door, that would just smell of Werther's Originals. And we.
Yes, I was just going to say that.
And you'd still find a Panama hat on the back shelf. Whereas this is probably going to smell of we, but Coke. As well. I think that's the better car. I think that's the sturdier car. You're going to get stung though with both of these. This will be better for insurance because you're young. that auto will bring the insurance down, but you've just got to go. And especially with these sorts of cars, I would put your you want third party, cheap as you can get it. You want install the box in the car that makes that they monitor you there from a satellite, so that's cheaper.
Yeah.
And the other thing would be to just get your excess at the highest amount you can get it, 500 quid or whatever you can get it, because this car ain't worth jack shit.
I'm also thinking that the Focus as well was available with a 1.6 engine. So if it's a 1.6, even better. Your insurance being.
So yeah, both good cars. I think that's going to get you to and from where you need to be. So why not? If you want to ask us any questions, we may or may not give you the answers you want to hear. We don't care. This is the Car-Boyz. You can email the show at car-boys@outlook.com, Facebook car-boys at Car-Boyz with 4 Zs at the end, also 4 Zs. Twitter, car-boys at car_boys. Instagram at car_boys with the 3 Zs. It's Halloween. Well, not tonight. Well, if you're listening to this the day after Halloween, it won't be. It'll be November the 1st. But it's All Hallows Eve this week. And it's time for our big quiz. Oh, sorry. What's our Welsh audience back again?
Along with the Scots. They all turned up.
They haven't turned up. It's terrible. There you go. Thank you very much.
Thank you, ghouls and ghosts and everyone else that's tuned in. So we've got a spooky quiz this week. It's more. There are some horrors in here, but we've gone all Ken Bruce. If those of you have heard the radio show, where he does a thing where you have to guess what year a certain track was from, and everyone always goes 1 year out. So
is that Popmaster with Ken?
Popmaster
with Ken Bruce, the most successful radio presenter in Europe, who gets the lowest salary. Poor old Ken.
And wasn't the voice of Eurovision on the radio as well?
He was. Unfortunately, he has a head like a potato, so he can't be the presenter.
So this week we are going to give you some cars, and you have to guess what year they were introduced, or what year they were introduced.
Mm-hmm.
And to make it harder, we're going to have 1 year out between the two options.
Oh right, wow!
So it's going to be.
I'm excited. I'm very excited.
This week you're playing for a picture. Where is it for? Where has it gone?
Ooh.
It is the picture you're playing for is a yellow Austin Metro.
The horror! It truly is Halloween. Is it the one with the 3? I hope it's the one with the 3 gears, and instead of a 4th, it has a gear called E for economy. Yes.
With manual choke as well. Question number 1. Are you ready, Richard?
I am.
We have got question number 1. We'll start.
Yes.
One. What year was the original Mini? This is the original Mini.
Mm-hmm.
What year was the original Mini first introduced? Was it 1959 or 1960? A, 1959 or B, 1960?
I'm going to go 59.
Bing! It's the right answer. Absolutely right. Many years old. That is, of course, the original Mini.
Fantastic.
Okay, one out of 1 so far. Number 2, the Mark 1 Cortina made its debut in which year? Was it A? There's a Cortina.
Yeah.
Was it A,
nice.
1961 or B, 1962?
61.
Oh, you're 1 year out, as Ken would say.
No, but no cigar.
Yes. Okay, so one right, one wrong.
Okay.
Question number 3, the Mark 1 MX-5 Miata. We love this car on the show. The Mark 1 Miata. Was introduced in what year?
Oh, do I get a choice?
You should do, but I haven't written it down. So
I know, 89. 89.
It's 89, absolutely right. Correct.
We rehearse this. Honestly, we do. Go on.
No. Question number 4. The Toyota Corolla is one of the world's best-selling cars.
I've been in one of those. Yeah.
In what year was it introduced? Was it A, 1966 or B, 1967?
I'm going to go for 67.
Oh, 1 year out. It was 1966.
Damn and blast. I went in one of those up the sides of a mountain in the Himalayas with no dashboard and no rear seats and we sat on our old Persian carpet or old Nepalese carpet, and he stopped halfway up, the taxi driver, for it was a Nepalese taxi, and he crossed the road and flagged this motorist down for what looked like a little can of petrol, about this big, a little can of oil. I thought, can of oil?
Like Trump Cola size.
It was Trump Cola size, big like my hands, huge. It wasn't. It was petrol because he'd run out of petrol. We're in the middle of nowhere. But good
Fantastic.
car. Good car.
So that was introduced in 1966. The question number 5. The original Fiat 500 ended production in 1957.
Yes.
But this one, the reborn one, the Fiat 500, when was it reborn? Was it 2007 or B, 2008?
2007.
Absolutely right. 50 years later it was.
Yeah.
No less.
Fantastic.
Correct. Question number 6. The Saab 900, beautiful car. Love the Saab 900.
Oh, yes.
Which year was it introduced? Was it A, 1978 or B, 1979?
I'm going for 78. It's got to be 78.
Oh,
no!
79.
Really?
79.
That just so says 70s to me.
Just 70s, like me. Great year, 1979. Question number 7. The Vauxhall Vectra, the awful Vectra. There's a picture of one. If this is your car,
sorry.
It's an awful car.
Look, we've offended the Welsh and the Scottish. Let's not offend Vauxhall drivers.
Offend the reps. The Vauxhall Vectra was replaced the Cavalier in what year? Was it A, 1994 or B, 1995?
I think 95. I'm going to go for 95.
It's the right answer.
Hey!
Back on the scores. Okay. Question number 8. For the picture that you're playing for, which is the Austin Metro, the Austin Mini Metro, to give it its original name, inflicted pain on Britain in what year? Was it 1979 or 1980? 79 or 1980?
That one's a W reg. 1979 or 1980.
Yeah.
I mean, it was a car. To me, it says 1980. I mean, I'm going to say 1980.
Yeah, it was 1980.
It just says 1980. Do you remember the MG Metro?
Yes.
They were in white. A lot of them were in white. They did a forest green, which was the cooler colour.
I think they did a bluish colour one as well.
They had red, Go Faster red stripes and the MG badge on the front. My cousin bought one. Fantastic, loved it because it was really fast. It was a 1.4 litre engine or something. It was really fast for a little car. And first MOT, they just went right off. They were like, this is just the most dangerous car we've ever seen. They were just getting hammers and going, holes in the floor. No, this is coming off. Complete write-off.
And that's the reason why we don't have really a British car industry anymore.
Yes.
Absolutely right. Question number 9. So the penultimate one. The Triumph Dolomite Sprint. Beautiful car.
Dolly.
Again, big fan of this on the show. Was first launched when? Was it A, 1971 or B, 1972?
So my father had 2 or 3 of these, the Dolomite. They always made me throw up in the back, but it could be because he was also smoking cigars in the front. Why are the kids throwing up? I don't know, Dad. Crossing
Dad went in the Marx Brothers.
It was, and he told some jokes. Hey, take my wife. Please take my wife. My dad was Jimmy Savile. No, not really.
71 or 72?
71 was a great year. So let's say 1971.
Absolutely right. 71 was a good year.
Another good year.
The Dolomite Sprint was born.
Fantastic.
And the final one, your picture of the Austin Metro in yellow.
Grabs.
It is safe.
Can I have it with the steel wheels as well? Was that an option? Would you like alloys or steels? Oh, I'll just have steels.
Steel, of course.
I'll throw in some wheel covers.
They're not even full wheel covers. They're just the dish in the middle. That's all it is. Little black dish.
Horrible.
Question number 10, the final one. The Nissan Bluebird, we see this a lot when we used to go out drinking when we were allowed to drink. It was replaced by the Primera. In what year?
Okay, so go on.
1995. I preferred this picture to the Primera, that's why.
Yes.
It was either 95 or B, 1996.
There is there is a black Nissan Bluebird up in Covent Garden that we pass
Yes.
every time we go out for a drink. With some, and it's owned by a Thai family because it's got like a Thai cushion. There's a little bit of Thai writing on a sticker on the back, and I assume it's owned by a guy that runs a Thai restaurant. They were, do you know what? As derided as the Nissan Bluebird is,
Yeah.
they were the most solid car of the 1980s.
Yeah.
That if you had one of those, they just went on and on. They were always the taxi car that picked me up when I was a student in the 90s.
They did a 2-litre turbo version of it as well.
The story I heard is a mate of mine worked as a mechanic, and he took one in, and the guy said, it's sounding a bit weird. And he said, there's no oil in it. There's just no oil. That's why it's sounding weird. And what happened? They put more oil in it. It just worked fine because it was a Nissan. Nissan were a great brand, and they haven't been a great brand since almost this period. When they were Datsun, it was good. They made some bloody good cars. Then
Could that be the period that Renault got involved?
Oh, I wonder when the French get involved, the cars turn to shit?
Yeah.
I don't know, Simon. Oh, I've got a picture to show you.
Musicians to Trusted Shore on stage.
I don't know what's happening here. I have a picture to show you. You just reminded me of a picture I took today. Oh, 95.
It is 95.
Yay! Now,
So you do get your picture of the Austin Metro. Yellow.
There was some awful French accident in France today. Well, there was some. I won't show that picture of some French people got killed. But I did notice that the ambulance that came to pick them up was infirmier. It was also a Dacia Duster.
Oh.
That was the picture that I saw today that I wanted to show you. The Dacia Duster is more reliable. A Romanian-made Renault is being used by the French ambulance service, but only if you're an infirm ambulance driver.
So well done, you.
Thank you. Hey! What do I win?
You win the picture. The Halloween special.
Can I have it framed, please?
Yes, I'll make sure that's winging its way to you.
That's fantastic. I'm so happy to have won it. Hang on. There you go. Creepy cemetery sounds. Yes, thank you very much. That's about it from the show. Thanks for tuning in. We'll return next week with a slightly less
spooky.
A slightly less spooky Halloween-themed show. Because I think we've probably done it. We have maxed out our Halloweenness. If you would like to get in touch with the show, there's plenty of ways. You can email the Car-Boyz at car-boys@outlook.com. Facebook, we're car-boys at Car-Boyz, all 4 Zs. Twitter, car-boys at car_boys. Instagram at Car-Boyz. We might have a new president next week by the time we get to record the show. So very quickly, Trump Cola, buy it now. It's full of Republican goodness. Yeah, the sponsor of the show for the moment. Before it, we might be going for Biden Cola next week.
Yeah.
That caused you to forget almost everything. Thank you very much for tuning into the show. See you next time. Bye.